Guys, what's going on, and welcome back to Overunder. Today I want to bring you my final gameplay from Season 2. I really want to get stuck into Season 3, but there is one stone that remains to be unturned on my Overunder account, and that is going for Grandmasters. This is the very game that I'm playing for Grandmasters. You'll know that the score is 1-1 if you check up towards the top of the screen there. Round 1, we kind of stomped the enemy. Round 2, the enemy stomped us back, and we pretty much just set ourselves up into a kind of like a pseudo quick play situation for the video at the very least. But towards the very start of this round here, I get caught out making movements with McCree. Getting aggressive with little miniature flanks can always net positive results, but my ally May actually walled off the enemy. I think her thought process was to just buy some space and, you know, free cap the point. But what that ended doing is making me look like an absolute moron, because instead of the enemy focusing the rest of my team, they completely tunneled me as I was the only target that remained to be seen. So I get taken out pretty easily, and they end up first capping the point. So within these King of the Hill maps, it's always a scary concept to lose the first cap. These maps can be quite seesawy. The momentum is very hard to put into the opposite favor. We do get a really good initiation here. We get a pick onto the Tracer. My Anna gets a kill onto the Reinhardt. We've made this fight a 6 versus 4 for the time being. We lose the Anna in the process, and the fight starts to slow down a little bit. Since the fight has, you know, been going on for a little bit of time, something I wasn't expecting was bam, I get earth shattered from the right, and all the progress that we made gets lost in an instant. And that's just the power of ultimates in this game when used correctly and or, you know, have a lot of impact. The seesaw continues to tip into the enemy's favor. But within this match, you'll notice that the score 1-1, of course, and within those 2 rounds, I've actually played a total of 3 different DPS heroes, between Reaper, Tracer, and now McCree. It's a pretty important thing to recognize when there can be potential, like, advantages to be gained by switching heroes. I fall into this trap myself, but I like to think of, you know, switching heroes mid-match is actually a legitimate skill. Like, if you have like an Overwatch resume, you can put ability to switch heroes mid-match. That shit, I think that would employ, like if there was people employing you off of your Overwatch resume, that shit would be highly regarded, because it's something that is overlooked by a lot of people, and it's something that gets harder to do the more tilted you are. And chances are, you're going to be more tilted when you're losing, you know, the game. It's very few situations that I find myself extremely pissed off whilst winning a game. So if you can have that ability to switch heroes whilst being really mad at your team or yourself, like that's a really strong asset, not to be overlooked at all. There's a lot of like mental advantages you can have in this game that a lot of people kind of overlook, and Overwatch is like just as much about psychology and whatnot as it is about things like actual in-game mechanics. If you have like a good brain inside of your skull, like that is a pretty good advantage. I think a lot of the things that separate great players from like professional players is all mental. I think mechanics within Overwatch can be mastered through repetition, but like good mindset is something that is not going to be found in the tutorial for Overwatch. It doesn't matter how many thousands of hours you play of Overwatch, if you don't address your mental state at some point, it's going to hold you back, unless you're just like an absolute god, and you just absolutely dick on everybody whilst just raging. In some games that'll work out, and you do play like a god, but consistency in this game gets a lot harder when you're angry, I've noticed. I guess it's just human nature or something, but within this match, I wasn't really dealing with anger so much as I was dealing with like stress. As I get a nice little flashbang headshot onto the enemy Genji here. Seeing as this is the first ever time that I had actually played for Grandmaster, you know, rating, I was pretty nervous on, you know, how I would be able to carry this game. And since the game wasn't this completely one-sided stomp, the game was actually challenging. It made focusing on this match and, you know, playing well a very difficult thing to do. I found myself using flashbangs extremely poorly in a lot of situations, and I think there's a few times within this round that I'll point them out, because I like to call these flashbangs just brain lag flashbangs. There's something that I don't mechanically register as something viable to do, but because I'm playing a little bit like nervous and scared and kind of just, you know, just a little bit panicky, like shit like that. Flashbanging a Genji with a Zarya bubble on him that's nowhere near close to expiring. Like that bubble had, you know, more than a second remaining on its duration. That flashbang only works if he gets bursted in the, you know, the little split second that I throw the flashbang in, and that just was not going to happen. And I think there's some good examples for, you know, just absolutely ridiculous flashbangs due to like stress within this game. Another one to boot, and with the cherry on top of that, missing quite a few easy shots onto the enemy McCree. So this game isn't all rainbows and sunflowers. This game went both ways a lot of the time, and getting a grip and actually establishing momentum was near impossible. And you know, games like this, when you're playing from a stressful perspective, it just elevates things completely. But in that little situation that I found myself in there, I considered myself dead. I was dead to rights, and I noticed that after I took out the Lucio, the Ana, I could have, you know, tried to roll backwards and survive, but that survival percentage chance is extremely low, in my opinion, in that specific spot. So instead of rolling backwards to try and save my life, instead I roll forwards, get the aggressive kill onto the Ana, and make the 2-for-1 trade. What this allows my team to do is to, if they group up before the enemy healers respawn, is to actually engage the enemy who have no healers and take a 5 versus 4 fight. It doesn't exactly execute in that fashion, but we end up grouping up, getting a good Deadeye onto 2 of the enemies, and with the numbers advantage, we can push things forward. I like to use Deadeye in a more patient way than when I started playing McCree. I think Deadeye is an ultimate that gets rushed way too much. You see like the first opportunity that you get to actually execute somebody when you don't actually think about all the variables, and since the enemy is playing a Genji, it's very hard to actually use Deadeye unless you know for sure the Genji has deflected. And you see here, I just jump onto the point. I see that my team is dead. It's a similar thing to running in and killing the enemy supports in that other specific scenario. You never really want to delay your own death, and this is a moment in the game that actually annoyed me a fair amount. You go for the classic L flank arena McCree Deadeye, and I'm just waiting for my team to get into position down below and engage the enemy, but surprise, surprise, I turn behind me, and what do I see? The rest of my team just chilling. Like, there was a bit of a disconnect in strategy. So what I thought was like a clever little maneuver that I could have made turned out to be a little bit of a disaster. We make the best out of a bad situation here. Try and get as much damage as possible, and, you know, try and just scope out, is this fight winnable? And for a brief moment in time, it does look winnable for me at the very least. And missing 1 or 2 crucial shots on the Reinhardt here, you will see the implications. I end up wasting the flashbang on the Reinhardt, who I thought would still be alive, who ends up dying. And had I killed him earlier, like, I wouldn't have had to make that decision. I could have had that flashbang up at the ready and ready to take out the enemy Reaper. As a result, you know, you do the little anti-clutch moment, and my team pays the price for it. There is a lot of times within Overwatch, and this isn't like a bad thing or anything. In fact, I think it's one of the good things about this game is that there will be like insane amounts of micro opportunities in which you can turn the game into your favor, and the better you get at the game, the more often you will capitalize on these moments. And that, for me at the very least, inspires me to be a better Overwatch player in general. And it's a good thing to strive for, is to just strive for those moments where you can make that slight little impact to win the team the game. I see a lot of people complain that, you know, you have a 6 versus 6 game, one person's impact can only be so much, but with that said, those opportunities will find themselves and present themselves. It's your job to identify them and execute them, and try to make the plays happen in any way you can do so. But before this gameplay wraps up, we do have the final round remaining, of course, but I want to address something that happened in between my last video and this one, and that is, I was browsing the competitive Overwatch forums, or the Reddit, sorry, as I quite often do, and I actually noticed that somebody posted about my YouTube channel, and that actually like made my day. So whoever posted that, thank you very much. My channel went from 13 subscribers to like fucking 95 when I've had this YouTube channel for around 3 months, and to see that kind of growth in a single like night, when you gain 13 in 3 months, is crazy. It was a little bit bittersweet. I went and checked the comments within the thread itself, and I kind of just got trashed on a little bit, so that kind of felt kind of shit. But I'm gonna try and utilize that to improve my videos. I know that this YouTube channel is quite small and stuff, and I never really want to advertise it. I want my content to realistically advertise itself, and it's nice to see that some people, at least think that my content's good enough to subscribe to the channel for. So for the new people who have just joined, thank you very much, and I hope I produce videos in the future that you enjoy. And I don't know, it was bittersweet seeing the comments, but the very fact that somebody made that post in the first place really was really nice, so thank you. But to place your attention back into the match, I make a pretty risky decision here. If you look at the percentages, 63 to 37. When I look at that, what that says to me is that if we can win one single team fight, there is a good chance that we can just completely take the victory from there. 37% can be a little bit lengthy of time to actually hold a point for, but I think it's definitely possible. So I noticed that we were lacking a Xayah, and even though my McCree, I felt like it was having a decent impact. I don't feel like it was like a dead weight by any stretch of the imagination. I think I was getting what I was wanting to get done a lot of the times, but noticing that we didn't have a Xayah was a bit of a red flag. Since this is Season 2, you would have seen my video on Xayah just the other day. I described Xayah as probably the strongest hero in Season 2, and I want to try and capitalize on that. Not having a Xayah on your team in a game where a lot is on the line can be a very risky move to make here. So since we managed to take the push and actually cap the point without using my ultimate here, this is if they take this left bridge here, have you seen this before? Have you seen this? I'm kind of waiting this out as long as possible here. This spot on Lijiang Tower, if you are a Xayah, the enemy takes the bridge, you need to execute them every single time. And the stars aligned, the enemies, they all group up, and I graviton behind the little wall there, completely sucking them off the bridge and ensuring the win for our team. And I think without that switch into the Xayah pick, I don't think my McCree would have had that same effect. And just executing that little play at the end, man, not gonna lie, it made me pretty fucking giddy. So with the win ensured, that's pretty much guaranteed Grandmaster in the bag. So it was a very, that was the most satisfying graviton surge I think I'll ever do. There's gonna be nothing until there's new skill tiers in the future. If they ever do add something different that is higher than Grandmaster, that will forever be my favorite graviton surge that I ever cast within Overwatch. But with that said, guys, the gameplay is wrapping up for today. The final match from my Season 2 Overunder journey has now come to its conclusion. I hope you guys enjoyed the videos that I posted. If this is the first video that you've ever seen, what I did this season was create a new account calibrated at 2351, starting off in gold, and from there getting to diamond with nothing but support. And once I got diamond, I kind of let myself loosen up a little bit. But that is Season 2 under wraps. Hope you guys are looking forward to Season 3, and I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching, and take care.